Right, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining. This is our weekly webinar. Today we'll be discussing the Hikvision time and attendance integration solution to make things a bit better and easier. So we're going to go through a few of these things and then have a bit of a discussion. So just going to move a few things around to make sure that I can see everything. There we go. Right, let's see if we can move along. All right, so the first thing would be that we're going to be talking about the main points itself, and then we're going to be looking at the solution of the time and attendance, and then obviously some 6 normal cases that we've obviously gone through, and then the TPP. So we'll get into that part as well a little bit shortly. So this is not a very big module, it's very small. It's mostly concentrated on time and attendance for solution for any company or business, for HR and stuff like that. So we're going to jump into it. So frustrating for any HR person regarding time and attendance. So software is sometimes a bit of a pain, having it on the cloud. It's a very complicated system normally. You have to map all the IP addresses of all the devices and link everything up, and you need faster time turnarounds to give you different protocols of staff, what time that they arrive, what time that they leave, what time they go on lunch, etc., etc. So, and then we have problems like on time and attendance as the buddy point. So that's when you give your authentication card to a buddy and tell him, hey, I'm going to be late for work. So please just check in for me. So that's a problem. Obviously, for big corporate companies, when they open up the door and they start at a specific time, there's always a long waiting period because everybody else in front of you, you know, there's always that some person that's really taking their time to get everything together before they clock in. And then obviously we need a safer environment of granting access. That is your facial detection. That is our deep learning algorithm as a solution for that. So that's why, you know, that's very important, your face. So it makes life a bit easier. And then obviously the last one is obviously with COVID and regarding all the other, not being a germ phobe, but with all the other problems, we don't want to punch in any codes. We're trying to not have the QR code, even though I've got mine, but you know, this is for testing purposes. You don't want to put your finger there because you don't want to touch any surfaces anymore if you don't have a little bottle of hand sanitizer with you. So this makes it easier where the face terminal can pick up your face, and not just that, it can also take your temperature. So as you can see in the picture right here, it will take your temperature. We have different models, but we'll go through all that. Let's move along to the next one. We have a system called anti-spoofing. So I'll pause the video. There we go, it's paused. So let me press the wrong button. There we go. So as you can see, she's holding up a picture of herself and it's not authenticated. So as soon as she takes the picture away, it will authenticate because it's looking for that 3D face of your face. So I'm just going to pause it again there. Right, so very straightforward. Because of that anti-spoofing, which is pretty awesome, you can't have a buddy, and I'll put a little picture in there on this module just to showcase, you know, the guy's putting a picture of the PA lady so that he has access to the snack little room. So we don't have snacks at the moment. We are suffering. But anyway, so we have different terminals. So I've got one here for you to show. It's not on, but just to showcase. So obviously you have different versions and different models, but like these ones got a little thermo camera on the top, which is pretty awesome. And then you got 2 lenses for it to be able to identify the person correctly, as you can see, Papa. Right, so which makes it much better, much safer. So yeah, anyway. So not just that, as you can see, she's holding up a little paper there. I'm going to play it again. and it takes 0.2 seconds for the system to authenticate. Yes, this is in a perfect environment. This is in our office area, etc., etc. So yes, it's quick. So installation-wise, that could be sometimes play a role on the authentication time because of the degree angle, the way that you're approaching the system, etc., etc. So keep that in mind. And then we've got another one for at nighttime. Boom. So at nighttime, it can authenticate the person. She's taking forever to get there. Is it just me or is it slow? Oh no, I think it's frozen. Hi, there we go. Something's happening. You can hear the footsteps, you don't see her, and then you see her. Okay, so the video is slow, but anyway, it works at night. Right. Oh, that I mentioned that we have the deep learning algorithm in it. So obviously you're saving a lot more time and a lot more energy, and obviously just all-rounder if you use a Hikvision deep learning algorithm terminal, facial terminal. It just speeds up everything. So yeah, okay. But you guys know that we've gone through all those modules in the past already. So anyway, nice thing about our modules is, like I mentioned earlier, there's different applications, but we can also have it where we program to tell the device to read your temperature. If your temperature is too high, it will not grant you access. If you are not wearing your face mask, as you can see, then it will not authenticate. So for HR, this will help because then you won't grant the sick COVID staff member into the building. So you'll tell them from there to go home or contact me, kind of thing. So yeah, keep that in mind. So pretty awesome. We have different models, different applications. So you have ones with stands, as you can see here. We have ones with different amount of faces it can read. Iris itself, that's this portion here, like Batman. So you can use that part, it works. And then obviously we have smaller versions for reception desk, for clocking and stuff like that. So, and obviously we discussed it in our previous modules and our previous webinars that you can have it on your HIK Connect app. The person can use his mobile phone to clock in and clock out as well, GPS location, and so much more. So if you wanted to know more about that and you haven't been here for the previous ones, you can always go to YouTube, Google, well, not Google, but you can Google. You Google Hikvision South Africa YouTube channel. It will take you directly, or just go onto YouTube and put in Hikvision South Africa, and then you'll see all our videos are there, and then you can go through all that parts. Anyway, all right. So the solution, very straightforward, very easy. If somebody is using payroll, it will take it from that third party towards. So we're going to go through basic. This is really easy, but anyway. So go through the payroll into the third party program and directly into, you have different options. So you can either use ISEP-I, or you can use the access control gateway, the API itself, that's on the local premises. So you can use that interface to pull it into the terminal. So what that basically means is once the HR has loaded the person's credentials of their contact, their name, their surname, their age, all the little goodies, what tag are they using, what's their staff number, etc., etc. Once that is loaded, it will be pulled in through for the time and attendance, and then you can pull it through locally to the device. And not just that, you can also use the HIK Pro Connect as well. So, and that's on the open API. So that's through the cloud. So that's why there's a little cloud there. Cool. Anyway, and then from the project management side, you can also use the HIK Pro Connect, the HIK Central Professional. So HIK Central Professional is our software that will go on the premises itself. It's normally linked there. You can use that software to be able to pull in all that information as well towards the terminals. So very easy solution, very straightforward. but not just that, it can work the opposite way again. So take the terminal, you put your face, and we'll get to the next slide. There we go. So just to showcase quickly as an example, it will look something like that. When you add a person's face, it will give you that little picture on the inside. You put your face there, and then you can load your information on it if you have access. If you don't have access, and maybe the person that has access will load you onto the system. And then from that system, let me go back. From that system, whichever platform you are using or whichever direction you are going, back towards a third party and back towards payroll. So that will make it a bit easier. HR, any HR person would definitely understand this, and I think they would really appreciate this. Anyway, right, so straightforward from the person's enrollment, whatever the information is, it will basically go towards the third-party software and then basically go directly into the MinMoE terminal. MinMoE terminal is there to pick up your face, so there's no it's anti-spoofing, so there's no way of cheating the system with someone else's face. And we've tested this, and I've tested it, and we've tested it, and we've tested it again, and it's definitely working. Yeah. Then we have different protocols. So there's obviously key command codes for the guys that are actually aware of this type of integration. This is more towards the guys that will be using the Pro Connect as the installers, or maybe the IT guy at the company. He would definitely understand this. If he doesn't, you shouldn't be there. Okay, so we have internal training we can give, so we can do that as well. So you have all this capability of using that command keys to be able to grant access towards that person. So obviously with the command prompt, you'll be able to put the employee number, their names, etc., and so forth. You carry on, and then you can send it towards the terminal or to the software itself. Right. So as an example, once we have sent it everything in, now this guy, his name is, I think it's Jack. Bet you it's Jack. But anyway, so Jack has tested on a high temperature. So he's been not granted access, but he gets to the system though, but the door doesn't open because it needs to go to the system because it needs to inform HR that Jack is got a high fever and he might have COVID. Right, but I think it's Jimmy. Jimmy over there is at the right temperature. He will go through and have access, and it will go through the web and go to the third party, and it goes to the system with all the analytics and all the information. And then obviously Jack as well, but he is not allowed in the building. So those information can be sent directly to the necessary people from HR or the management, and even to their mobile devices, which is pretty awesome. All right. So very straightforward on the integration side for the key features. So there's a few nice key features. So if it's on the premises itself, on the access control, time and attendance, that's normally for any business type like channeling, marketing, big projects, stuff like that. Obviously, we have different gateways, different ways of integrating it or pulling it in. And then obviously you can also use our HIK Central Professional Open API as well. So we have that integrated language as well for that capability. So normally with this type of programs, customers will pay per employee per month. So it's kind of expensive. With Hikvision, you pay one fee, you're done. Makes life easy. But anyway, not on the license side. So that's a whole different subject, and we have covered that before. So keep that in mind. And obviously on the cloud side, it's very similar. So it's more for smaller business, smaller projects, smaller companies, because there's no need to have all these big things. They can just use the cloud service. It makes life a bit easier. So again, for that kind of thing, also for channel marketing, you can use the HIK Pro Connect itself, the app, as an installer. So that makes it a bit easier. Also the open API, and then also the normal time and attendance gateway, so it can be linked. So that makes life easy. And then on the HRMS For the HR people, they would know what that is for internal. So basically, it's very convenient for them to be able to pull all that information and take it directly to the access control, which saves them a lot of time. So for HR, for time and attendance, it's kind of difficult because, yeah, it's just a long process for them. So this makes it very simple, very easy, quick to use. Yeah, just all around a great. So yeah, all right. So obviously same ways, and also on the HIK Central Professional, we can also on the database pull in any CSV files and also TXT files. So that is the like Excel and blah 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 files, you know, the normal text files. So that can also be pulled in, depends on your third-party program that your company needs for their payroll system or whatever the case might be. So it can be pulled in, right? And the same for the cloud, very similar options, same thing. Smaller businesses makes life a lot easier, right? So there's two ways that we can connect it to HIK Central Professional. So either through the static IP address that will be on the site itself, gets pulled into HIK Central, then to open API, and then from API it will go to the third-party time and attendance software. So and it works the other way around as well. So these commands are here, and then also from the dynamic IP range itself, that is when we have a static IP address that's going through the internet, through the cloud, through the network, and then to the system. So what that basically means, this is at your branch itself, but you also want to look at the time and attendance for the Cape Town branch. That gives you that capability of doing that as well. So makes life easy. Right. So I'm not going to go too far down the rabbit hole. I'm sure you guys can see these modules are available on our website as well, and we also share it wherever we can. We are trying to also share more information. But anyway, so have that capability of normally putting the person's ID on all the additional things into the third party, and the protocol is there. So very straightforward. Then on the database side itself, very similar, same scenario, internally, externally. So that's going to be for Durban, Cape Town, or wherever you want to, directly to the network, to the cloud, and then from there to HIK Central Professional, and from Professional to the third party application, and then there we can have the solution. So the database types, we have different options that are available, not just our own, but there are multiple options as well. Then from there on, it will get pulled in, and then you'll be able to put the information. So not just that, also we can also do the writing format for the third-party program as well on that. So you can go through all that information, which makes life easy. Once you have your database, you'll put in your IP address, your port, your database name, whatever you want, obviously your username, password, and then obviously your third-party database name itself, and then you'll be able to pull in all that information directly. So it gives you that capability of doing that. You have multiple other options like we've mentioned before in the previous training sessions. So you have all these, from sending emails to reports to event logs, etc., etc. So you have that capability. All right. Then on the CSV side, exactly the same. Sorry, excuse me. My temperature is fine, by the way, for those that wanted to know. Anyway, so same setup, same principle, only different program. But as those from HR will know, CSV, so you can use that same capability of pulling it into the third-party program. This is the data option, so basic information that you'll be able to fill in according to what your system has and what your information is. Put it in, and then you can pull it through, and you can select your option accordingly, what you would like as your option, and then your date, your time, period, etc. So yeah, the guys that uses CSV would definitely understand. I'm sure of it. If you work with it, you would. Yeah. I don't work with it. I know this much. So anyway, Right, cases, very straightforward. Obviously, we tested this with multiple different platforms and multiple different companies. So with a page automatics, automations, we've integrated it for the smart time itself. So it definitely works. The nice thing about it is you can use your mobile phone for it. You can use your computer, obviously, and you can pull in all that information. Oh, there we go. There's mouse. From the web browser, you can also put the facial records are there. You can also have the fingerprint records as well. So everything gets pulled into it. It works on this third-party program. Then through that as well, we have Smart Time. For those of you that didn't know who they are, they're all about time. That was a dad joke. Time. Anyway, so for those that are using it, you'll definitely understand how it works. So yeah, keep that in mind. And then obviously the benefits. So very basic. I'm not going to go too far down, but okay, let me tell you about the basics. Okay, 24/7 access towards it. It works. You have the MinMoE technology onto the terminals, which makes life a lot easier. You can use your mobile phone, or some of you that use the iPhones, but anyway. Not just that, also you can also control your leave applications, your leave time, anything to do with leave, sick leave, annual leave, vacation leave, running away from your mother-in-law leave, you know, anything like that is possible. Just talk to HR first. And then obviously real-time wages as well, that also plays a very big role. And like I mentioned, for the payroll system for HR, yeah, the API is there, so life is good, right? So it obviously makes that a lot easier. And also the working schedules and the rosters for some of those companies that have day shift and night shift. For any of those that work with it, back in the days, we used to go onto a Word document or Excel document and put all the people's names there, and then we would fight about who's taking day shift and who's taking night shift and who's switching with who and who's working. I don't like working with him. I don't like working with her. It's HR's problem. So, sorry, HR. So put it in their lap, and this gives them the capability, and then send it out to everybody, and everybody will have that report, which makes life easy. But key features, we've gone through all that. Key features is obviously face, the iris, the Batman eyes, fingerprint, card readers, web browser, your mobile phone, and then obviously the rest of it. Then obviously, as well as before, didn't highlight it, but 24/7, the whole year, you have access, email support, payroll, all those little goodies. So yeah, good. Okay, so for us to integrate it, HikConnect, the ProConnect side itself, that's more for the installer. That gives them the capability of looking at the health monitoring, remote access, quick installation tools. We have flexibility on the linkage to link devices to work. You know. And then obviously from the mobile side itself. So if any of you have used ProConnect and actually understand how it works, really takes the time to actually go through it like any new product would, and really use the tools. I think any installation company that uses access control, intercoms, cameras, alarm systems, so much more would really go and say, you know what, this makes life a lot easier, especially from a network point of view. The health monitoring makes a big difference because then you'll get notified immediately. But anyway, so you have all those capabilities, manage the access control devices, plug and play to the cloud peer-to-peer. So for the IP and domain section. So for any of you that don't know that part, but anyway, then obviously professional HIK Pro Connect itself. So you'll have the installing tools, and it makes life a lot easier. I think the other thing that's not been mentioned down here as well would be for the health monitoring. So that's part of it as well. So really, the health monitoring makes it a lot easier. It's not to say that you are a doctor. It's just to say that, you know what, I see that client so-and-so, the backdoor terminal is not communicating. Can we open up a job card? Makes life easy. HR will get a notification as a health monitoring to say that the front door terminal is not working. Please send a message out to all staff on WhatsApp or whichever communication you have to use the back door because the front door is not working for time and attendance, and quickly relink and fix those problems. Now it makes sense. Anyway, right, so for the smart time itself, the integration, again, like I mentioned, same procedure going through to the terminals. You can use that as well. So for any person that is using smart time as a solution for the open API from HIK Pro Connect would understand. So obviously we do have training courses for that as well for the guys that want to go down that rabbit hole as Alice in Wonderland. You can definitely do that. It's a lot of work, but for the guys that are in charge of that would understand. Right, so there's it. Sorry, I'm showing you guys on the other monitor, not this one, that one. So, but you can see it, which is this one. There we go. All right. So on the HIK Connect side itself, of the Pro Connect, same procedure. Like I mentioned, you have it from back to back. So you can either send the information to the devices or from the devices to your time and attendance. So both ways. The Pro Connect guys, the installing guys, the guys that do the setup will do everything, get everything ready. They can get also the information from HR for who the staff is, and they can pull it in. But because of the POPI Act and stuff like that, there are different security measures in place there. So HR would obviously need to do this, but knowing that it is safe. So keeping all that information safe. All right. So, and as you can see, there's one of those temperature screening modules. Anyway, right. On the TPP, our partnership. Right. So basically, in a nutshell, if you are a developing company and you have an idea and your software you think can be integrated into Hikvision or vice versa, etc., anything to do with the software side of things or developing side of things, you can use our website, which is, you can just go and Google it as well if you wanted to. This is where we can use the programming and analytics and stuff like that to help different partnership, building up new programs, etc. I am a proud partner from Hikvision regarding this subject. I am trying to develop a device that I can put on my wife's phone or keys because she cannot find it. So I tried Whistle for it. So I would love to develop something so I don't have to spend 20 minutes of my morning to try and find her car keys. So yeah, so good idea. And this is where you're going to be using that idea, and they will help you to sort all that out. Okay, then next up will be, thank you. There we go. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being here, and I hope it opened up some ideas. And as I mentioned before, there are different modules that we've already done on our webinars. They are on YouTube. So if you're a little bit lost, I would suggest going back to the previous ones, watch them in sequence, and then you come back here and then you'll understand. All right. So that is it in a nutshell. I just want to pause here.